Good evening, good evening, good evening. I want to welcome you to tonight's edition of Yes You with my friends. And I'm glad to have Rhonda, Jonna, and Tyrone with me on this fine day. We're so glad that you joined us, and I see you out there, Mel, and there are a few others out there as well. We want to say good afternoon to you. I'm going to start with wishing you a Merry Christmas because I may forget at the end of the broadcast. But I want to wish you a Merry Christmas that's coming up on Friday. And I hope that you enjoy with you and yours a wonderful, just a phenomenal time of just enjoying, even if you don't have people traveling and coming in, because we are sheltering at home. Just enjoy the fact of being alive and the gift of life and love and all that good stuff. But I would definitely wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas. It almost doesn't even seem like Christmas. I want to ask my friends to come on and just each of them share something about what's going on with them and a little bit of something before we get started having this chat on this fine day.
Well, I will say hello, everyone. It's funny that you say Merry Christmas. Like you say, it does not feel like Christmas, and the fact that Christmas is on Friday, it's crazy. Like this year has totally been different. I feel like this is a year that kids are going to study about in high school and college, and how it's almost it comes in line with like the Black Plague and different times where the world was hit with tragedy. Um, but on the flip side of that, Dallas is being Dallas. Numbers are still high. Everything is it's going, but I feel like we're about to hit a shutdown, just like some of the other major cities. Um, and we're just maintaining, trying to keep our spirits up and just getting through the rest of this year and hoping for a better year next year.
Yes, absolutely. Ladies?
Well, same here. This week we wrapped up before Christmas vacation, so we are officially at the halfway point of the school year, which we are celebrating big time. Um, Middle school and high school, of course, they've been out since Thanksgiving. They didn't go back after Thanksgiving, but we still had upwards of 70 cases with just the elementary schools.
Wow.
And they are gearing up. They've hired more staff because a lot of the virtual students are going back after the Christmas break. So while cases are the highest they've ever been, we're getting ready to add another set of kids back into the school district along with the middle schoolers and high schoolers. But it's running through the elementary schools now. So I don't know how it makes sense, but that's where they are.
Wow. My goodness. And I want to thank everybody that's coming in before Rhonda jumps in here. Mel, Sheila, BTD, Mom Jams, JJ, Michelle. We know you love you because the Chief. You love us because the Chiefs are on and you're here. And the Rebel Inc. and Michelle. We see the score is 21-15. So I'm sure the Rebel Inc. will keep us updated. But we know you love us, girl. We know you love us, even though the Chiefs are on. So thank you for coming and tuning in. Go ahead, Rhonda. What's going on down there in the Ark?
Girl, the same old, same old. COVID is raising its head as always. It's just bad. It's horrible. And as I said last week, more and more people that I know that I'm associated with has this COVID.
Yes.
So it has really hit close to home. And then this last thing I'm going to say quickly. You all would not believe that there was a Trump parade today out in front of Chick-fil-A with the
Chick-fil-A.
with the Trump flag.
But they trashed.
They had the Trump flags and they had Biden did not win and all in front of Chick-fil-A today.
Oh my God.
Today.
Trash.
I don't know what to say.
Trash.
I'm speechless.
Now, why do y'all think they chose Chick-fil-A?
Well,
okay, you don't have to answer that.
They closed on Sunday.
Oh,
Right.
that's a whole conversation. Why they
Well,
chose
it's probably their
Chick-fil-A.
employees.
Right.
Mandatory. You must show up for this parade, and bring your brother, your sister, your mama, your dog, your cat, and anybody else.
Right.
Everybody.
Everything, all the votes have been validated and everything's a done deal. So why are you still showing up with Trump flags?
But one thing that stuck out to me that Jonna was saying, where they've hired more people due to the kids going back to school. When we think about like teachers not being paid a due salary, but now when times are getting hard, they're finding money to hire more people on. Is that not crazy?
It is.
And totally from whatever we were going to talk about, but it just made me think about, we see our teachers who teach our kids every day, and they're struggling. I know teachers who have part-time jobs, and now there's a time where times are getting tight, and we're trying to figure a way to get kids back in school, but now we can find this extra money to hire more people on.
Mm-hmm.
But why not compensate our teachers our teachers are our basis of everything. Our teachers create our doctors and our preachers and our politicians and this, that, and the other. I mean, that's just crazy to me. So now in this tight time where they're trying to figure a way to make it safe for kids to go back to school, we find more money to hire more people. That's crazy to me.
Yeah,
that just came out of nowhere. Sorry.
Preach. That's what the Spirit does. When you start preaching, it just comes from nowhere. It just overshadows you. And BTD Mama's encouraging you. She said, "You're preaching, Tyrone." She said,
Thank you.
Preach.
That was my anointment before I became a sinner.
Don't egg him on. Don't egg him on.
Well, I got two topics I want to touch on, but since you all are already here, especially after Chick-fil-A, what do y'all think about this debacle on Friday when I understand Trump and the people got into a shouting match at the White House? What do you?
I didn't hear about it. What happened?
Yeah, what happened?
You didn't hear that? Oh, that's hot topic right there. So he brings in Sidney Powell and Flynn, who now this interesting to me that he tried to distance himself from Sidney Powell and say she wasn't on his team, but now she's showing up at the White House with Flynn, who is a convicted brother that he pardoned, and others. And so the argument is they're wanting to initiate martial law and demand that there be another election because of the fraud of the first election, and he's trying to do this by virtue of military force and this and that and the other. And so people are like, you guys at this point are absolutely crazy. So now even amongst them, they got into this hollering and screaming match at the White House. It was reported to me. Rhonda, your face.
Girl, I'm tired. I'm just tired.
Yes, they were debating the merits of declaring martial law.
Yeah.
These folks are crazy.
He can't just walk away at this point.
Listen, can they not just walk him away? Even if he doesn't walk away, can they walk him away in handcuffs? Is my sentiment.
It's getting crazy at this point.
It's beyond crazy.
It's like whatever I can hold on to, I'm gonna fight for it. Just to say you lost. Give it up.
At this point, Mitch is not saying a lot other than let's concede, because he sees his leadership dwindling away, because rest assured, Georgia is showing up in numbers.
I saw that.
Yes, they are showing up in numbers, which
they're showing up bigger than like presidential numbers. And
I want them to do that because by both of the opponents winning, that puts Kamala in the position of always being the tiebreaker between the half and half, the 50-50. And so that ends the power reign of dear old Mitch. Thank you, God. So he, at this point, has seen all of this that he has struggled to come into power slipping through his hands, because Trump really has undone him. Jonna, what are you thinking?
He's undone him and everybody else. The people are exhausted. I don't think it has anything to do with politics anymore. It's just like, can you stop? You know how little kids get sleepy at night and they just can't take it no more.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same. It's like, just quit, please.
Listen. BTD mom, just like the parade. Listen, who does their planning and research? Who knows? Trump's is probably his toupee. And I love Sheila Miles, treason, sedition, lunacy, Article 25.
Wow.
I love it.
But it's embarrassing, though. I mean, it's really embarrassing.
Well, the European tabloid, well, it wasn't a tabloid, European newspaper, the headline was "The Worst Loser Ever," and they had a picture of Trump and a whole article on it. So at this point, everybody is looking at us from the other nations, and they are just basically scratching and shaking their heads like, this is absolutely positively unbelievable. And at this point, I'm like Sheila at this point. You're talking treason, you're talking sedition, and the man is crazy. Can we not get an Article 25 here? I think he qualifies without a shadow of a doubt. Why do we keep kicking this can down the road and inflicting wound upon us as we kick this can down the road?
It's sad, and then you think about what we're dealing with here, as far as with Trump and all his foolishness, how that looks to the rest of the world. Like, how could we as a country go into another country and say, your voting system, you should have a democracy, and the people should vote for who should be in leadership? How can we go into other countries and fight for that for them, which we've done for so many years? And this is what we put on the front stage.
Yeah.
Our people have voted, and then the man in leadership is saying, "But gag is not it, and I'm gonna fight against you." Yeah. Like it's bigger than just him. It's what we're representing to the world.
Well, hey, Chiefs just scored. Like Main Man said, it is somewhat diversionary.
For one.
It is somewhat diversionary. I feel like, though, some of it is revolving around, I'm not going to get into the depths of that tonight, but again, as I said and talked about on Friday on Yes You, there is this breach that the Russians have done in our internet systems, and we are completely exposed. And I feel like all of that with ransomware and everything else that they've done, and I'm going to say it again for those that may not have heard me talk about it on Friday, but I can't pay my utility bills because our utilities have been taken by ransomware. They can't even pull up my account, or anybody's account. So, I mean, this is crazy stuff. And when you talk about ransomware, I have to wonder, is all of this also, because ransomware, you pay a ransom to get your stuff back. And even with the reality that Trump is so beholden in debt to Russia, is all of this a Russian cover up and a means of getting money and getting out of debt and so on and so forth, which then goes back to the whole point of treason. And they are actually talking treason. If you haven't followed the conversation around this whole scenario, even though they're trying to keep the lid on it, they're definitely screaming treason and threatening that they're going to charge him with treason. So get ready for the pardon palooza. Remove him.
Well,
I agree.
And he's been, quiet on it. He's not speaking on it. They're asking him questions, but he's not saying much about it. But there's a lot going on,
right?
And we need to be made aware. And if you're off in those Twitch streets, you hear a lot of that too, because if you go into the different DJs in the other countries, they're all talking about it.
Yes. And interesting, as you said, Trump is not saying anything. And when the story first broke last week, Pompeo was trying to say it was China that had done the breach, but he finally came back on Friday and had to admit this is Russia. So, anytime you got Pompeo finally coming clean, because there's nothing else you can do, because, the facts are right there staring you in the face, and you can't continue with this diversionary China, everything is China, when at the end of the day, not to mention, the Trump debacle that's now brewing around, where he's trying to make it where Chinese are taking off the stock markets and all that kind of stuff. So it's just all kind of crazy backdoor and behind the scene kind of stuff that's going on. And he has some kind of vendetta that he's holding against China. And then on the other hand, you got Putin over here that he's Putin all over us, and Trump is letting him.
Right. And they're also concerned about all the information that he still has as a president that he can give to them after he leaves office. So I think that's why they may be treading lightly at this time, because there's a lot he can still do.
And he's the type to do it.
Yeah, he is. He's the type to do it to get his fanny out of the noose and out of hock for all this money that he owes. Because remember, he steals for, besides everything else he's beholden for, $400 million. So, he's got to come up with that money as well. So this is all calling cards for him to try to keep his fanny out of a noose. And not to mention, they've had this access to all of our sensitive information since March for 9 whole daggone months. So, 45 has some money tucked away somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but he got some money tucked away somewhere. And then he's got his little cronies that continue to feed his till for his supposed fraud fund against the election. And all he's doing is greasing his palms, and they're handing the money over left and right.
Right now, we're dealing with a little child who never felt good enough, who always wanted to be validated, who looked at his father, and his father told him he was nothing, and he's gonna do whatever he can to make himself feel that he's somewhat important. He lost the biggest race of his life.
Yeah, first term president, one-term president.
A one-term president. He lost the biggest race of his life, and right now we're dealing with that little kid inside that just wanted to feel something.
Okay, that's all good for his little temper tantrum. What he didn't get, but he's killing us in the process.
So we're not gonna nurture him and do the process.
No,
ain't no nurture.
No.
Ain't no nurturing.
Take your ball and go home. No.
He's had every opportunity to take full advantage of. I nursed him with these, but listen. When your baby bites you, that's when you quit nursing. You get that picture? When your babies bite your titty, it's time to quit nursing. And I think every mother that has nursed and had a good bite, a good clamp, they will concur that's when the titty is withdrawn from the lips. He gets no more.
He gets no more.
No more. No more milk. It's dried up.
Yeah, girl, take the titty out your mouth. Take it out.
It's dried up. No more. So whatever he's having and whatever fit he's going through.
Lord. Back to the lonely part. Oh, Jesus.
What are the lonely parts?
Oh, glory.
I ain't giving up nothing. So
did I miss that during the week?
Hold his hand. He's coming down the plane talking about, I want to hold your hand. And she's like snatching back and everything.
What are the lonely parts though?
Oh Lord.
If you think you're lonely now,
oh, Lord.
Wait until tonight, girl.
What?
Now Trump is known for grabbing a pussy, so I don't think he has those type of lonely parts.
Okay. He got a lonely part. Don't nobody want no parts of that orange aberration. No.
Girl, that was fantastic.
Man, we need that money before he gets up out of here. Listen, I just want him gone. I don't care what he does. I just want him gone. Him and his toupee sitting crosswise on top of his head that cost us $75,000.
Did he?
Yes, the bill was $75,000, and that was how many months ago?
My word.
For that wretched toupee.
Yeah, it ought to be looking a little better than that.
And his head was snatched. I just want to say,
I didn't get him together with a bundle and a weed track from the hair store for way less than that.
Right, I sold that thing in myself. for half the price.
For half the price.
Absolutely.
Y'all better chase him down because he's paying good money for that wig he got sitting on top of his head. So listen, at the end of the day, that is the scenario that went on Friday, and people are actually cracking up about it. And at the rate that we're going, what else can he do before he finally gets his hips out of that chair?
We might be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
But to evolve,
he gonna pull a stunt before it's all said and done, like a serious stunt.
There's a stunt going on now. Believe me. Go ahead, John. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's okay. Last I heard, he was planning a rally during the inauguration. I'm sorry. That is so funny to me.
That was reported.
I read somewhere where Biden was hoping that he would show up. Is he not required to show up?
Well,
apparently not.
And he's not to.
Right. Wow.
He's doing us a favor, believe you me.
He really is. Stay home.
Yeah.
Stay somewhere. But yeah, as John has said, there's a report out that he's allegedly planning a rally at the same time of his Biden's inauguration to hopefully try to distract and draw attention away from President Biden, and he'll get all 6 of his loonies.
But they didn't come to his inauguration, so I mean,
who didn't come?
People didn't come. That had to be one of the emptiest inaugurations in history.
Okay, but
so he think that a few people gonna show up?
Barack Obama was sitting in that chair gracefully with dignity.
Correct.
And that's what you expect a president to do.
Correct.
Show some dignity and show some leadership, which this man cannot do and never has.
Correct. So that's what I'm saying. If he plans to hold a rally during Biden's inauguration, who's he expecting to come? No one came to his inauguration. He should be an upstanding citizen, put his feelings aside.
Holding up at Chick-fil-A.
The Chick-fil-A crowd.
Those were the Chick-fil-A employees.
And the Proud Boys.
The Proud Boys.
Yeah,
but there's another organization out there now, something Wolf.
Something crazy. I can't remember the name of it, but they're springing up left and right. I saw one where they said people that were trying to bring back the Vikings and Viking worship, they've all now turned white supremacists and they're recruiting. And I mean, so you got all these little groups sprouting up all over the place. It's crazy. It's crazy. Just crazy. And it's still crazier still to think that people still voted for this man in the midst of all of these shenanigans.
A lot of them.
And are still upset. So that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. So I'm gonna start with that, but here is where I really want to go tonight, because I really don't want to talk about that orange apparition for a whole entire evening, even though he continues to act a clown and a fool. I want to know, inquiring minds want to know what y'all think about. Listen, Kobe's mother-in-law.
Oh, Jesus.
Suing that girl.
As in Bryant?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This man has not been dead 1 year. And mother-in-law is suing that child for $5 million that she says they owe her for being a nanny. Now, y'all tell me what you think about. Oh, yes, BTD mom. Yes, yes, yes. She's suing her for $5 million because she claims that Kobe promised her that he was going to take care of her, and she was their nanny for 6 years.
let me say this.
Jump on in.
I'm gonna say this to our viewers. Remove the emotion of his passing and your response to this.
What do you mean remove the emotion?
Let me say this. Because people's response can be because he died in such a tragic way. Well, how dare she?
And his daughter, because she also lost her daughter.
She lost her daughter.
She lost her daughter.
We have to remove the emotion of the passing from this. If the mother is owed something And I know a whole lot of mothers that's in the chat right now, and a whole lot of mothers that's in the panel right now. If you're owed something, and you want that. So before we respond, we have to remove the emotion behind Kobe dying a tragic death. He died with his daughter. We have to take away that emotional aspect, because our first thing is, how dare she? Her son passed. He died with his daughter. His wife lost her husband. His wife lost her child. That's our jerk emotion as humans.
They don't need jerk emotion.
But we have to hear out the mother's point. Let's not dog out this mother without knowing legally what she may be owed. As a mother, she lost a child too. Is she just supposed to say, I lost my child and this is what was planned and agreed to me, and this is what I was told? I'm supposed to walk away from this?
You talking about grandma lost a child too?
I'm talking about Kobe's mother.
No, it's his wife's mother who's doing the suing. Is that correct? His wife's correct. Mother? Yeah. It's his mother-in-law.
The wife's mother. That's between him and her. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
No. Let's not change it up.
I thought it was his mother. Sorry. Misinformed.
Well, now while we're at it, let's get to his mother, because this is the core that I want to get to. Parents that feel like their successful children owe them something. We need to address that. So yes. Teresa said it's due. I hear you. Now, this is the thing I want us to talk about, because let's look at what his mother did before he died, which is why he had the 3-year window of break from mama and daddy, because he's buying them a house. She up and wants a $400 and some thousand house and can't wait and start selling off his memorabilia at auction without his permission, to raise the money for herself to buy her and his dad what they wanted, because they couldn't wait for him to give it to him. And as he said, I was already taking care of y'all, and that wasn't enough.
That's a problem.
That is a problem.
It's the same attitude of mother-in-law. Y'all owe me something, but don't nobody owe her diddly squat, in my opinion.
And if she was promised something, it should have been in writing. That's terrible between family members, but it should have been in writing. And if it's not, it's just talk. Goodbye, mother. Don't call me no more, okay? We're done. Don't call me no more. You have no case. It's just chatter.
Now, I hear if it's due and if that's what he promised her, that's what they should go ahead. $5 million is not going to hurt you. I hear you, Michelle. I hear you.
That's better said than done.
But if he promised it and said it to her, then he probably promised it. I'm just saying, and said it to the wife. So now don't say that this is what he and I talked about. And he's gone. Now there's nobody to back you up, because I'm sure he would have said it to his wife as well.
Come on.
And that's correct. If there's with the mother-in-law, if there's a conversation, the daughter should have been involved. So if she's in a place and she's not holding up to what their agreement was, that's a problem. But she can't. The mother-in-law shouldn't be able to say, "Well, Kobe promised me," because I don't see in any relationship, whether it's a huge celebrity or just your average person, I'm not gonna have a promise with my partner's mother without my partner being involved.
And with all due respect, Kobe is gone. So whatever he said. Right. That's just what he said. I'm running the show today. I'm not writing no checks. Not
okay. If the daughter don't want to write a check to her mama, that's on them, and they need to go on Yana fix my life because something's wrong.
Okay, let's look at this as well, because mother-in-law divorced husband on charges and allegations of infidelity, but the father, he said that she did the same thing that his daughter did with Kobe when he had peen trouble and was out there trotting around. Now, waited the 10 years to make sure that they could get the money. Then she divorced him and then moved in with Kobe and the girl. So at the end of the day, he said she ain't nothing but a gold digger and a money grabber, talking about the mother-in-law. Now, the husband ain't making no money. So I'm going to accuse you of infidelity, divorce your tail, and move in with my daughter and her husband, who's worth millions. So at the end of the day, the husband just came out and said, look, All of that is not true. She's a money grabber, and then also alleged that his daughter was a money grabber. Her daughter, rather, was a money grabber because initially Kobe's parents wasn't feeling her either because at the end of the day, she was a 17-year-old little tender. He just turned 20. They knew each other for 6 months, hooked up, married in that little window of time. And of course, Kobe's parents were having a cow. Now, were they having a cow because they really cared about their son? Were they having a cow because they want access to that cold cash without somebody in the way? All of those are factors. And then at the end, you look at the whole scenario that both of them had situations of obviously knowing the law, as the ex is saying, where they go over the 10-year window to make sure that they get that money because his peen had already been around before they did that divorce. So I'm like, if you that upset, just divorce. Why are you trying to wait 10 years? So dollars are obviously coming into play with both of these sisters, in my opinion. And I'm going to let y'all talk.
I would have to agree with that because even with Kobe, like I don't know the whole story, but I remember there was a time where did he have like another child or something, and then he wound up buying her this huge, amazing ring, and then she wound up getting back with him. I mean, this woman knew what it took to be secure.
Well, and I'm gonna talk to the getting back, and I'm waiting to hear Rhonda and Jonna. The getting back was when Kobe came out with the rape allegation, and it looked like that rape allegation didn't create any more than a scratch for Kobe. And in the end, I mean, let's be real, he got a scratch. It wasn't no wounding. And at the point in time that it may have looked like in times past, he could have lost his career. Kobe still came back like a knight in shining armor and, no loss. So at the point that there's no loss and you're still making income and you're still doing good, oh, be still my heart and let's get it on. That's my opinion, y'all. That's my opinion. And I'm going to shut up.
And from what I understand now, I never followed the cases like this. It's just hearsay from hearing some of my friends talking about it. Is the mother encouraged the daughter to stay with him through all that? So she.
Because I remember there was a time where like the daughter was leaving, and he had to fight back for her. So that's what he bought her, like this amazing ring.
They divorced and then got back together.
So even hearing like from what John is saying, like the mother encouraged that them sisters. Nothing against women. Don't come for me. Thank you.
Tyrone, wasn't nobody coming. We just listening.
But I'm just saying now. I'm just putting it out there because this is a touchy subject where a woman will put that thing down and do what she want to do. Don't come for me.
What thing are you referring to?
I think that was a sermon. But last week, the warm place between your legs was that what it was called, Jane?
Warm place between your legs. What thing?
Is he talking about the pancakes and the slice of bacon? And then
it may have been that.
Nonetheless, this is really where I'm trying to come with it. And Rhonda, I'm gonna let you talk before I get on to my next point because I feel like there's a whole lot to unpack here.
Wow. In the day that we live in, that's why you have a lot of legal representations, legalities that go on. There was absolutely no reason that this should not have been in papers, a will, or that's just the time we live in. I don't care if it's your mama or your child. Nowadays, it needs to be written down because, like we said a while ago, Kobe's gone.
Right.
Kobe said that to her. We don't know because he did not. Apparently, he did not tell his wife.
Right.
But the song said, "You might not mess with a gold digger." I ain't calling you a gold digger, but you ain't mess no broke. You know the song. Look at Tyrone. You know that song. Don't act like you know. So there is absolutely no reason this should not be on paper.
Correct.
Absolutely. And we don't know what's going on behind the scenes because Vanessa did put the mama out of the house and take back the car.
Yeah.
So obviously there's some kind of something that's going on, even more. But my thing is just because Vanessa has a lifestyle provided to her by Kobe, that doesn't automatically mean that mama got a lifestyle too. That's all I'm saying.
And I have to agree with that. I have a friend. Well, I wouldn't call her a friend. Someone that I grew up with really young. Her son was just drafted to the Eagles. this year, like fourth round or something. And just looking at her Facebook post, it's almost like there's an entitlement to her because of all she sacrificed for her son to just be him. He just so happened to be drafted into the Eagles. And you just watch her post of, I should have, and I should be able to travel, and this, that, and the other. There's like this entitlement to, it gets you the thought of, were you my mom and just wanted me to be great?
Now,
or were you setting me up to, were you putting all of you into me?
To that point, Tyrone, I have a friend, and this is the God's honest truth, whose mother told her, I took care of you all of your years growing up. Now it's your turn to take care of me. And she expects her when she works to pay her money. Now, mind you, I almost want to tell her first and foremost, because they were raised on welfare and she was getting checks for them babies. I really want to tell y'all done already took care of mama already, because she was getting that monthly check all while y'all was in the house. And then to grill and drill into your mind that when you grow up, because I took care of you when you were unable to take care of yourself, now it's your turn to take care of me. That's what you're supposed to
do. Yeah.
But those kids take money to that woman every time they get paid, like they owe her, because that's what she taught them. And that's what I want to speak to here, this idea of just because we have some kind of familial relationship and I birthed you into this world. Now, mind you, if I came into a cash flow, ain't nobody in my family that wouldn't be blessed by it. But at the same time, let's look at particularly where Black people tend to come into money, entertainment, whether it's sports or whether it's music, where these individuals get whole families and extended families that they end up having to take care of these people until they have no more money. Even when they don't have any more money, these families are still expecting them to fork it over. And I want to delve into that kind of mindset that we have, that somebody is owed something by virtue of relationship. Respect, yes, I'm going to give you something because I love you. But as Kobe was saying, and they didn't talk for 3 or 4 years, broken relationship. So, at the end of the day, you took my stuff and stole it. You sold it. You didn't ask me. You disrespected me. I was already taking care of you and providing you. What more did you want from me than to turn around and steal my stuff and then act like I wasn't doing enough? And that was his own parents, not the mother-in-law. Now in death, you got the same thing going on, more or less, with the mother-in-law. And I don't know. I think we just need to talk about that. It seems to me that somewhere Magwa's heart is twisted. Y'all tell me what you think.
It's crazy because even outside of like Kobe, you see it with even Whitney. Whitney's dead, and they're still trying to squeeze her for whatever she's worth.
That's true.
It's like she's done her part. Kobe did his part. Even with LeBron, I believe it was even with LeBron, where his first wife would take the kids out on like Hollywood Square and sit outside and say they were homeless and didn't have money and food. Like she literally would sit. There's videos. I believe it's LeBron, his first wife. No, not LeBron. Who's the one married to Gabrielle Union?
Dwayne Wade.
Dwayne Wade. His first wife would literally take their kids and sit outside with signs on like Hollywood Square and say that they were homeless.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, can I give you enough? But the crazy thing is, not only celebrities deal with that, us as normal people we deal with that.
Well, break it all down.
Just by being better than what our generation before us was.
I want to address it because it's a real issue. As somebody said a few weeks ago, what we see in celebrity is just a blown up version of what's going on at a smaller scale.
Every day.
That's why I want to address it, because I'm telling you, I personally know generation behind me where mother is milking those kids and making them pay like they owe her. And I feel like this is what we have produced, and this is why we're doing this kind of insanity. And a lot of times, let's truth be told, that's why these parents are taking the time, spending the money, going to all their little events and here, there, and everywhere, because they're really trying to push them where they can get seen and discovered, make some money. And then it's like, but when you were trying to make it, I did this for you and I did that for you. And it becomes a prison cell of what I did to get you here.
Mm-hmm.
That's 100% true, and I'm sure everybody can relate to that.
And the payment does not always have to be money. That's not always the pull. It can be emotional support, or whatever you want to call that.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a whole bunch of stuff. Parental guilt is not so much from the parents, but on the kids is real, and it is unfortunately a tool that works on a whole lot of people. And like you said earlier, it can become an absolute prison where you cannot breathe.
Absolutely. And I think we want to, from my perspective, address how this impacts our culture and their mental health, because eventually it does pull on you. You're not going to tell me that Michael Jackson wasn't pulled on. You're not going to tell me that Whitney wasn't pulled on. And you can go, the list can go on and on. These basketball players, these football players, all these people that have people standing in line with expectation, you owe me. And I think we need to address, I think we really need to talk about it. But again, as you said, it can go to a smaller scale. It doesn't have to be superstardom, but you still have that expectation. And, you're talking about my friend, out of all of these kids that were really providing income for mama from the system all these years, she's the only one that's not in the system and actually has a viable job. So, it's like she has scratched, pulled, tugged, and done everything she can to make something and be something herself, but she still feels obligated to go back and pay mama like she owes her for living.
And that's true. I will say, for like we talked about the whole, celebrities, I will say for myself, from where I came from, I'm living good. When I deal with my mother and my brothers and my father, I'm doing well. And there's a guilt for me because I'm doing better than they were, and I know their struggle. So there's a guilt of when mama don't have, even though I may not have it, I'm gonna make it happen because I know she did this for me. And I know when I was younger, she struggled. And I know when I didn't have, she made it happen. And she's never put a guilt on me to say, you need to pay me back. But there's this feeling of, but I know she did for me.
But that's what parents are supposed to do. That's not a price tag attached to that. And I think, I hear you, Michelle, trying to make you feel guilty for doing good. I hear you. And this is where I think we need to really have a conversation. And yes, the family members, not just the mom. That's true. I think we need to have a real conversation in the community because I've seen it way too much. And in this instance, we're talking about a huge sum of money. 5 million seems like a huge sum of money to us, as somebody said, in the grand scheme of things, probably not to what she got in whatever assets in the state are left. But remember that she's got 5 children still to raise and college and this and that and the other. So listen, 5 million may sound like a lot, but 5 million may be one of those 5 children's college education down the road by the time they grow up and can go to school. Is she responsible to give somebody $5 million out of what she has for her children and take away because she claims Kobe said he was going to take care of her and pay her this money? And the one last thing I'll say to that, she said she's lying because I stayed home with my own children. They did not have a nanny.
But so she wants to, but the thing is, she wants to be paid to do what a grandmother would do.
$96 per hour. Wasn't that the figure?
She wants to be paid to be a grandmother. She watched the kids. How many I didn't grow up with a grandmother, but I know I've experienced what a grandmother would do. But is that not what a grandmother does? She has the time, when she has the ability, does she not just take care of her grandkids? That's what I see my mother do.
Yeah, I came from a village of love, but there are some people that came from a village of scrap and get what you can, however you can, when you can, and where you can. It doesn't matter if it's your family or not. And there are a lot of people that are being raised under those auspices in our community. That's not foreign.
Mm-mm. It's not, and so it can get really weird with some people. I know for me and because my mother lives in the house with us. My thought on that is she helps me a whole lot with my kids, and so anything that I can't touch, and some of the stuff I just don't want to, and so I don't, and she does it. Well, it's the truth. If they're sick, you have to go see nanny because I can't pull it. But anyway, stuff that she can't handle, then that's I take care of that. So it should be balanced. Now this, Kobe's mother or Vanessa's mom, if she has a lot of money at her disposal and she doesn't owe her anything. But if she didn't have something set for her, that speaks, because she could have dropped dead at any moment. Thank God she hasn't. But if she didn't have something already set for her, then that tells a story right there. To me, something is funky in that fishbowl, and we need to. The money doesn't have anything to do with it. It's something else stinking in there. I don't know what, but it is.
Yeah. Rhonda, I agree. Rhonda. Uh-oh, we lost your volume. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can.
Okay. And I've dealt with some of this because I have had family members that have played for the NBA, but we haven't had that type of issue. But the thing is, when most kids are playing ball or in music or whatever, and they get to that status to where they are able to make that type of money, that's the first thing they want to do is, I want to buy my mom. Most of the time is they're going to say mom, because most of them are single parent home. So some are not, but majority are. The thing they want to do is say, I want to buy my mom a house. And so that's because of the love and the support and all that the mother has shown them and been there for them, and they want to buy a house. Now this woman is going overboard, because now she wants to be paid because she was the nanny and raised the kid. No, you don't put a price on that. That's family, that's love. Now, and they've taken care of you for how many years? And now all of a sudden you think you need to have more. No, it's all based on love and support. And yes, I want my family to have this. And I cut that off because now you got cousins coming out of the wazoo. So my family, my immediate family, yes, if I have extra, and you need something, I'm going to help you. I'm going to buy my mom the house she's always wanted. But coming and trying to tell me you're going to pay me $96 an hour because you raised my kids and you owe me. No, something's wrong. Something happened. Something's wrong.
Well, I mean, the major issue with that, this isn't his mom. This is wife mom. Right. So he didn't become big and say, I want to make sure my future wife's mom is good. This woman came into the fold once he was already doing whatever he was doing, and now she's trying to get some off of just a name and clout. I would see if it was his mom, but clearly this woman is just trying to keep her lifestyle going. She's become accustomed to a lifestyle.
Yes,
that she's trying to keep going.
Now that I would say, but now I'm not even going to separate as far as familial, what she felt as far as, no, it's not his biological mom, but it is a mother-in-law. And of course, I don't do the separation out of the in-law and so on and so forth. And I want to bring up the reality again. He was only 20. He was just a kid, and the girl was only 17. So when you've been in somebody's life almost the whole entirety of their life in that kind of capacity, I'm going to hope that there is more of a relationship there, familial wise. I know I love all my in-laws, and it's not a matter of saying this person and but especially when you talk about you've been with somebody the majority of their entire life, so I guess in my feeling, I would expect her after this many years of having been with Joanne is going forth here. You want to be compensated for the clothes, the food, the circuses, the concerts, the shoes, and your time. I hear you, girl. I hear you. At the end of the day, I'm just like, I don't know how you can disassociate yourself. That child, both of them, Kobe and the girl, would have been like cherished gems to me because she came from my body, and he's been with her and us almost the entirety of their life in existence. 17 years old, 20 years old, you know. So for me, there's some level of just love and respect that's like, leave it alone and walk away. Even if he said, and hear me when I say this, and everybody can agree with me, she's due what she's owed. Even if he said, number one, I believe he would have said something to her, and I believe he would have had a contract. Because, honey, when you get at that level, almost everything is contract.
Everything's a contract.
I'm sure Vanessa probably had a contract she had to sign before they jumped up and got married. Nonetheless, at the end of the day, if my grandbabies, when they grow up, have to hear the story about how I fought they mama tooth and nail in the court, if I knew that was going to devastate my child, my grandchild, even if you don't care about Vanessa, these little precious babies, how do you do that? I just can't process that, y'all. I can't process that.
I think there's a bigger issue that we don't know about Vanessa and her mom. In a more rational world, agreed, we would say, you know what? This has happened. These are this is my daughter. I'm the grandmother to my grandkids. It is what it is. My love is everything for them. I think for them, there's probably something a little more deeper.
I don't care about
the mother. But
between that woman is 70 years old, Tyrone. The woman, take Vanessa out. I'm just looking at the woman. At what age do you get some sense yourself? 70 years old.
My thing is, in that lifestyle, the love we would have for our people is gonna be different than the love she's gonna have for hers.
Jonna's face.
Girl, I know you heard me loud and clear, even though I said nothing.
I was trying not to laugh. I'm sorry, but I couldn't help it.
Jonna, you said there's no age?
Age ain't nothing but a number, honey.
But
I think the love we would have for people on our level that we love is going to be different than what she has for her people and where she's at. We already talking about a woman that's a gold digger. What's gonna make loving her daughter and her grandkids any different? She stayed with her husband until she got to a point where she could get enough money. She probably taught that to her daughter, stay with Kobe until not knowing that things will happen the way it would. She probably told her daughter, you got a good man, he got some good contracts, he making good money, stay with him to a point in time. Do we really expect her to be rational? When money looking funny for her? Are we really expecting her to say, but now I'm gonna love you like a mother would love you? No, she's after money. Our love is gonna be different than her love is.
Well, the fact that she's after money to me nullifies any alleged agreement that she ain't got in writing about paying her $5 million. So there you have it. Just your actions, your behavior, and your past history has told me you don't get a thing from me. Because at the end of the day, who does that to your children and your grandchildren? I just who does that with any level? Even again, I'm gonna go back to the point. Even if it was a truth, even if that were the case, if I had, because you ain't dying, you're not starving to death. You know you're still surviving in this world. If you're able to survive, maybe not at the same level of existence you had in all this plush money, but you ain't dying, you ain't starving, you ain't hungry. If all of that in my life is taken care of and provided for at that level, why would I, in any way, shape, or form, jeopardize the well-being, the mental health, the emotional state of my children and my grandkids? It's not worth it. Chiefs won 32-29. Why would I?
And you have to ask the question, where did it go wrong? If she says she's owed $5 million,
Oh, Mel. Everybody get a ride.
we're gonna have to send some mail before she comes.
Mel and Sheila. Mel and Sheila are
Oh my God.
They're riding together. Because
right.
I mean, I want us to think about how we devastate our children and our offspring. Those little kids, if they're not already hearing it now, when they grow up, they're going to be exposed to exactly what has gone on here. And I have to feel like that is devastating for anybody. Why would you do that to a child? Now, that's just my opinion. So, Rhonda, Jonna, what y'all saying?
Same. How could you do that to a child? And the grandkids, that's one, but again, I say to your own daughter, that is trashy. I do have a term I like to use for it, but it's a little profanity, if y'all don't mind. That's what I would call whole shit. That's a true word.
But have you been teaching whole shit to her daughter?
Probably.
So then it's normal.
Well, now I don't know that for sure, but that is definitely getting along the lines of whole shit, as my father would say. God rest his soul. That is terrible, but whatever.
Yeah. But it's still an excuse of behavior. It does not excuse.
No, it
behavior.
doesn't. Absolutely
So,
not.
even if she taught it to the daughter, it still doesn't excuse her behavior. And we're talking about these little fresh young lives. Even let's bypass Vanessa and let's go to them 5 little babies that are still living. And can you not care some space and place in your heart about those kids? I mean, come on, Rhonda, what are you saying? What are you thinking?
Y'all have to bear with me because I'm having all kind of issues over here.
Okay, no worries.
I know Nathan.
Well,
I'm laughing at whole shit too, Nathan.
you know what? When money gets involved, things can go a little left.
But my thing is, what happened? Because you live in there, everything's good, and so why all of a sudden you kicking out? Cars have been taken back. The relationship has just gone sour. What happened between a mama and a daughter to cause all of this? Something's wrong. What happened? Because everybody's happy. Suppose everybody's doing well. She's getting everything. She's living the life of Riley. So now what happened?
I mean, for her to come out and say, I'm owed $5 million and for babysitting duties. When did she get paid?
Well, I'm gonna go back to this point. You wasn't babysitting my kids because I was home with my own kids. Now that's her point right there. She said you wasn't nannying nobody. That's not true, and that is not an act. You just putting a story out there in the media, but that is not the truth. Because I watched my own kids. You were not their nanny.
So yeah, there's a disconnect between mother and daughter there.
Yeah.
Because clearly, mama's about money, and Vanessa's grieving and may not want to go along with the game no more because things turn for her that she won't expect. And I don't know.
Well, and I'm gonna tell you, the timing of it to me made me wonder: had insurance policies been paid out? Y'all ain't buying what I'm selling, but you got a time window because I know that Kobe had some good insurance on himself. I'm sure there was insurance
on bank account on himself.
And so now at this point, I'm wondering if insurance policies got paid out, folks started seeing money coming in the door, and all of a sudden we start making demands because I need a taste of that. That's my personal opinion. I think some insurance policies got paid out. And now
were insurance policies being paid out and I was expecting money that we already had a conversation about that you was going to pay me and now you acting funny.
Well, I'm reading into it because that doesn't necessarily, what I'm putting out there as an idea and concept doesn't necessarily have to be the truth, because at the end of the day, it could be. But I guess I'm wondering this. The reason why I have a suspicion that insurance money got paid on a claim is because why did you wait this long to suddenly have this argument and have to take her to court?
Yeah, that's my same thing. Like,
You know,
one would think if you weren't being paid or treated right or being compensated the way you expected it, this would have been addressed when he was alive.
And what have you been doing all these years? If you didn't have any rent and you didn't have to pay mortgage or car or anything, what have you been doing? You know, if you needed to set up something for yourself, you had plenty of time to do that.
laying
Even
up on
if you had,
somebody.
well, you know,
And
Because
what gets one to a point where she's literally lost her son, I mean her daughter and her husband, and through all of that, she feels the need to put her mom out, take cars away. I mean, there has to be. I mean, there's more to this story amongst the two of them. Because one would think through all you're going through, your mom is the one you want by your side to help you do it.
That's why I say I think there was a precipitating factor. Something precipitated her taking the car, putting her out, and da 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 da. In my mind, I think it was insurance claims got filed, money started coming in, and mama started demanding. That's my opinion, but that's the first thing that comes to my mind, especially in the time frame, because it does take a while to get everything settled, get the claims filed, death certificates, and this and that and the other, especially the way that they passed away. So then it can very easily take that amount of time, if not more, to get a claim paid out. But I still think in my mind that's what happened. I don't know, and we're all on supposition all the way across the board because we wasn't there and we don't know. What I really want to understand from you guys, what can we do? And we're going to get ready to wrap this up, but what can we do in the way of strengthening family relationships? Michelle put something up earlier. Let me go back. When she was talking about a situation that she knows where all the kids, thank you. I know a family, 8 kids, and each child is expected to take care of a bill because mom doesn't work and they pay her to watch their kids. But it's been that way since the kids were grown. I know another similar situation very close to that, Michelle, as well. I'm telling you, I can almost go down the line and just start bam, 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 number.
Now, that situation, I don't find an issue with that. Now, I grew up in a household, a whole bunch of boys. My mom, when we got of working age, she expected us to pay a bill. And if mom is sitting at home, she may not work. But if she's watching your kids,
that's work.
You need to compensate mama. That's work.
You know.
If mama's sitting at home and you're old enough to make one, and mama got to sit at home and watch your child, you need to compensate mama. That's not. Because if mama don't instill in you that you got to take care of your responsibilities, you're not going to learn it as you get older.
Mm-hmm.
So if mama for me, a single mother who raised 8, 9 boys, as we got of age to work, we were expected to pay something.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got to the point where we start having kids and she's still watching her grandkids, you're gonna compensate mama to watch your grandkids. You're gonna pay the stranger in the street. Why not pay your mama? I don't see an issue with that.
Okay, good point. Johnny, you were getting ready to say something?
I don't. If that's the arrangement that everybody agrees on, if you're gonna stay home with the kids and we'll compensate you so that you can, then so be it. But for them to expect it, that's a whole nother issue. Now, if everybody agrees on it, then, because that can work out for everybody, but to expect it, that can go sideways.
But wouldn't we expect that just as humans, I have somebody watching my kids, I'm gonna take care of them? Because if they weren't home to watch my kids, they possibly could be out working. So wouldn't it be expected that I'm gonna sit at home and watch your kids? I'm gonna babysit your kids. Would you not drop me $25 a week or something?
Yeah, but $25 a week in bills to run a household can be very different amounts.
Correct.
I know some people that are run everything to the hilt. And expect everybody else to pick up the tab.
That's a different story.
Well, that's all I'm saying. I don't know the situation. I don't know all the particulars, but I do know it can go crosswise, and it does need to be an agreement. And I like Sheila said, SK said, do it when you living in the house, take a bill, pay for it. But when you get your own household, we need to have a separation of. I think sometimes we get stuff really, really confused and intermingled, and then that's where people's feelings get hurt, misunderstandings come into play. And even with the situation with Vanessa and them, I think that probably without getting understandings and agreements beforehand. And again, I don't believe that Kobe did anything that Vanessa didn't know about, because actually they had withstood hell and high water, because neither side of the parents want the kids to be together anyway. So, and Kobe just kept choosing Vanessa, and they kept choosing each other to some degree. So I think that he would have definitely laid something like that on her. However, going to the point of scenarios like this, I feel like people need to, in all that get an understanding. And if you don't have an understanding and an agreement, not a strong arm, and don't twist me with the knife and dagger in my heart, this is what you're going to do. Because I'm a grown up, you're not going to make me do anything. But as you said, I can take my children someplace else and pay. But then at the same time, we got to have a clarity on what's going on here and what the understanding is, so that it doesn't get muddied waters that end up really making folk really have a falling out and fainting down the road. And then unfortunately, in more times than not, in situations like that, it's the children that suffer.
Yeah, because like I said, I would have to agree with what Jonna said. I mean, there's a slight expectation, but there has to be a strong understanding. It's almost like a contract. Mom, I'm going to work, you can watch my kids, and I'm gonna pay you this a week. There has to be a strong understanding. Almost like a contract.
How much I'm going to pay my kids.
And how much I'm going to pay, and how long I expect you to watch them.
Exactly. Because you don't just drop them off in the morning and come back at the
1 hour.
Midnight hour. So I've seen all of it.
After you get finished getting hooked up with another one, that's what my mama used to say.
Now, I want to touch on this, and then I'm going to let Rhonda, I don't know where she's at in being set up where she can talk to us or not. I agree that this should have been kept private. And that's another thing. Why we got to put all our business out in the streets, all our dirty laundry, our drawers, our 411 information, every detail, every jot, every tittle. And sad to say, with the advent of Facebook and social media, the ability to know what to keep and what to put out there is even less of a consideration, because kids and grown-ups, I shake my head when I read some of the stuff that they put on Facebook, and we don't know about keeping stuff private, not hiding as far as if it's something that needs to be addressed so folks can be healed. But I'm talking about just your basic personal information. I do understand this too, Teresa, and that is when you get in the public eye, they will go through every public file and every public document and get, when you put them lawsuits out there, when you decide you want a divorce, when you get legal separation or whatever and go through the courts and those documents become public documents, somebody's going to scour and find it. You best rest assured somebody's going to get a hold of it. So
I mean, that's the law.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's the difference what we put on social media. I tell my friends that all the time.
Yeah.
I have friends that will put stuff on social media. One day, they broke up. This person did me wrong. This, that, and the other. And tomorrow, y'all back together. And it's like, but why not keep that to yourself? We don't need to know all that. And you're putting it out there so someone can judge you on it.
Yeah, we don't know that in these days and times. And to address, even though I'm saying, yes, they were going to get a hold of it some way, but then mother-in-law did an interview with TMZ, and that's how we got all the rest of this tea, because mother-in-law is running her mouth. Yeah, she did a TMZ interview.
And then mother-in-law going to look crazy once they, behind the scenes, patch up their family, and now they're good again. So now you put out there to be judged, where but just a month ago you did this whole interview dogging your daughter out, you taking her to court. Now behind the scenes y'all fixed it, and now y'all want us to be okay with y'all good again. Yeah, where y'all could handle all this behind the scenes, we will never know.
Yeah. Well, I'm a round it, come on around and let you all wrap it up, because at the end of the day, Again, I've said my piece, and my sentiment is that regardless, even if I was old, peace out, Mel. Happy holidays to you too, dear. Even if I was owed that money, I would have just let it go and kept on stepping for the sake of the love and these babies' emotional, mental states and relationship. That's just me. So whoever wants to jump in there, we'll wrap this up.
I think Rhonda should go. I think she's back with us. Okay, so Rhonda's maybe not back with us. So what I'm gonna say is one thing we touched on towards the end of this is that this should have been held private. And I think it's very important for people, even in the heat of emotion, to really think about the big picture of things. And it's sometimes things are best to be kept between you and the people that that evolves around it. I will say, yes, the mother may be the mother-in-law may be wrong, but $5 million, if she feels she's owed that, she needs to have a conversation with her daughter so they can at least come to a middle ground. You start high and you negotiate down. But it's important that people just, regardless of how big you are, just love each other. I mean, just be who you are to that person, support that person, love that person the best you can, and just let life be life. But if mother feels she's owed $5 million, that's a whole lot of money. It may not be a lot to them, but it's a whole lot to everybody on this channel and everybody watching. If she's owed it, hey, go for what you know. But don't bring the everything else into it. Because there's going to come a point. I'm sure there's never a family where the mother and any of her children stay hating each other forever. There's going to come a point where they're going to find unity amongst something. And all this should be handled, without all of us into it. We should never know this is going on. So I will say, love yourself, love your family. We're coming to the end of 2020. We're going into the holidays. It's been a crazy year. We've lost so many people. Just love each other.
Excellent. Thank you. Key Watts, before you come with the next one, we are so glad to have you, and I'm glad you were able to catch it too. That's my sis. I love you. I love me some Makiba. All right. Go ahead, Jonna.
Now this is probably it's not gonna age me a little bit, but do y'all remember that song "No Charge" by Shirley Keith?
Yes.
I tell you, my daddy used to listen to that song, and yes, he would have him a cup of something, but he would cry every time. Get a little misty. Yes. Anyway, he would listen to that song, and in the song, you know how it goes. She's going on and on about how she mothered her son or whatever, and he was going to charge her for something. And all the stuff she did for him, there was no charge because she loved him. And I think as people in general, not just a culture, we've got to get back to the basics. Love this is your flesh and blood. If you get into a litigation situation with your own flesh, I can't imagine looking at any one of my daughters and saying, I'm getting ready to sue you for anything. Any child that comes from their woman, that's mine. These are my kids. And I'm going to show up until I can't anymore. And as a daughter, there's nothing that I wouldn't do for my own mother. However, we've got to get to a place where we have some healthy boundaries. It is destroying families. It is destroying them. There has to be some decent boundaries. And we've got to be very careful how we raise these kids emotionally. They don't have to care for you in any aspect forever. The whole point, to me anyway, in having a kid is to watch you go out and live your life and not be stuck to me like a magnet nonstop. Go on and do your thing. Call me every once in a while, please. Every day. Not really. I would love that, but I'm not going to require it because anyway, we got to have some healthy boundaries, and we have to let these kids do their thing without feeling like, without being saddled emotionally, or even with time. Time is a big one.
Yes.
Parents can get you with that one, boy. Have you laid out in the street crying because there's not 27 hours in the day and ain't a damn thing you can do about that. We have got to stop leaning on them so much for stuff that they don't have control over like that, and let them live. But you have to invest in yourself. And that's the really big issue here. You got to invest a little bit in yourself so that as the children grow, you can grow with them. Okay, the children have outgrown the crap, and you're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just my take. God
Good
help
word.
us be better parents.
Yes, yes. Good word. Good word. Rhonda?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
I don't know what's going on with this thing, but yeah, good, excellent word, Jonna. And I just say ditto to that. The main thing is the healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries, because kids, they did not ask to come here.
Mm-hmm.
And you were just blessed to have one that made it to that level, because there's so many out there trying to get there that doesn't make it. And yours just happened to be there. But you still have to maintain healthy boundaries with each other. And like, time is so short, and you're here today, gone tomorrow, especially in the time that we live in now, 2020. That should open up everybody's eyes and be like, oh my God, they're here today, they may be gone tomorrow. So we got to cut out all of that stuff. And the word says the love of money is the problem. The love of money. We've got to deal with that love of that green stuff. I like it, but I don't love it to where that I want to create issues and hate family members and do all of that. But healthy boundaries is the main. When she said that was the key. Healthy boundaries on both sides.
Yes. Thank you, Rhonda. And there you have it. We're going to wrap it up with that, because I think at the end of the day, as BTD Mom said, this is real mother talk that Jonna put out there, and Rhonda, and as well as Tyrone, the things that we're talking about, because families are real. We listen, I'm one of those, I believe we're all mother fathers. So I don't even do the gender thing. So we play both roles in people's lives. And really at the end of the day, it is about good, healthy families and creating good, healthy boundaries, as Rhonda said, on both sides. So I appreciate you all for joining in. Good conversation in that chat. Y'all were going over there. I appreciate everything that you put in there. I am so glad that you were with us. Sheila, BTD Mom, Key Watts, that's my girl. That's my girl. She's down there in Dallas holding it up. Michelle, Teresa, who else? I saw James JJ in here, BTD Mom, Main Man was here. I want to say thank you to every last one of you that jumped in, the Rebel Inc., every last one of you that jumped in and shared in tonight's conversation. Nathan Lamont, good stuff. Y'all fed us and we had good, healthy conversation. Now let's go out here, build some love in this world, build some healthy relationships with some good, healthy boundaries. And at the end of the day, yes, you can make a difference in this world. We love you, and peace for your journey.